Hello, it's Mike Rasmussen. I am going to talk to you about the Secure Act. And the Secure Act was part of a Consolidated Appropriations Act passed last December 20 of 2019. Why I'm bringing it to you is for any topics that I think need to be addressed when the next president is elected, hopefully November 3rd, and what to watch out for November 4th and on, both by the end of the year of 2020 and or in early 2021. So let me take you to the topics we'll whip through pretty quick here today. The Secure Act, I'm going to talk about RMD, which stands for Required Minimum Distribution, age 70 and a half to 72 change, a 5,500 form late filing penalty, ouch, and small employer related credits. Okay, so let me go to the first. Here is at congress.gov. Here was the HR 1865 that was passed on 12/20 of 2019, called the Further Consolidated Appropriations Act. Buried in there is a Section O, which is the setting every community up for retirement enhancement, referred to as the Secure Act. Okay, so if you ever hear about that, it's actually buried inside a very large bill, and this was one piece of it. Okay, so here the act may be cited setting every community up for retirement act of 2019. I am going to specifically talk about the first one is increase in age for required beginning date for mandatory distributions. Okay, so I'm going to go to some simple slides by Thomson Reuters. Required the background. Under pre-act law, participants in an employee-provided retirement plan, okay, and IRA owners, traditional, were generally required to begin taking required minimum distributions, that's the RMD, from their plan by April 1 of the year following the year they reached age 70 and a half. That's the required beginning date. For non-5% owners, that means if you're still working and you turn age 70 and a half, could delay taking an RMD until April 1 of the following year following the year they retire. So if you turned age 70 and a half and you were still working and you're in a plan, until you retired, you wouldn't have to take that RMD. But 5% owners had to begin taking these RMDs by April of the year following the year they turned, even if they were still working, okay? How does that apply to you? Well, so you're watching this video, you're not going to turn 70 and a half, or you did not turn age 70 and a half in 2020, but you know a family member, or you know somebody that, wow, I bet they didn't know this, or at Thanksgiving or the holiday season, you're going to run into somebody. And also, this may change, obviously, November 4th. So I want to bring it to your attention. So RMD, required minimum distribution, it's actually a life expectancy actuarial table that says how long you're going to live based on how old you are, and it says they take that from age 70 and a half to 50, whatever the expected life expectancy, and it's in a percentage that you have to take every year. Okay? Then you get a form at the end of the year, and that's the amount that you pick up. You include an income. What are you including in income is both your deferred earnings on the contributions that you would have, like in a traditional IRA or a qualified plan, employee provided retirement plan. Okay? And so you're picking that up basically over a life expectancy. Okay? I'm not going to address what happens to your beneficiary if over your life expectancy. So if your life expectancy under this actuarial ends in 15 years, you have to take these RMDs and completely draw down your traditional IRA or this employer plan. I'm not going to address what happens if your beneficiary inherits your plan, okay? That's a whole other topic. That's an inherited IRA. This is just for the RMD current, Okay, so what the new right now and is for distributions required to be made after December 31, 2019, with respect to individuals who attain 70.5. After that date, the Act increases the RMD from 70.5 to 72. What that means in 2020, if you turn 70.5, you now don't have to address RMDs until 72 or tax year 2022. Okay? That's what that means. There's just know the term RMD and that it was deferred. You're in the holidays, you know somebody that might be affected, just make sure you are, or let them know or look at it. Okay? All right. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to let's go to the next topic, which will be the penalties. And here in the law is the late Form 5500 late filing penalty. And right here in Section O of the Secure Act, it's increased penalties for failure to file retirement plan returns. Again, why does that impact me? So let's go to right down here. Let's go to 44, which is right here, and increased. That's the credit, and let's get to right here, which is basically for failure. For returns due date, including extensions, is after December 31, 2019. Increases the failure to file penalty to lesser of $400 or 100% of the amount of tax due. The 5500 penalty is what I'm talking about, is the form that a small business files with the IRS of the results of your plan, of an employee related plan. That's a form 5500 with the IRS. It's changed to $250 per day, not to exceed $150,000. My word. So 5500 advice. Even if you engage or hire a third party to prepare from your data of your plan, and after December 31 of 19, you're in 2020 here, and you're relying on a third party and that form is due in 2021, and that administrator doesn't extend or properly or files late, either or by the extended due date, it's a $250 per day up to $150,000. Make no mistake, there is obviously a heightened scrutiny on employer plans, and making sure they're making sure that the RMDs, who's participating, who are the 5% owners, and if you're not filing that plan, there's no way, the 5500, there's no way of determining if the RMDs are being, especially for 5% or more owners, there's no way that the IRS would know that that they're supposed to be taking out the money. So what you can see here is that the RMDs are really a heightened focus, if you will, at least in the retirement area, to make sure that the only way that data is going to be passed up to the IRS is through these Form 5500s, okay? So that is a late filing penalty, and again, they may or may not apply to you, but that is if you are an SMB and you're considering or have enacted a retirement account, employer responsive retirement account in 2020 or after December 31, 19, need to pay attention to that. Now, the next that I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the last is any credits, okay? And the credit is, let's make sure that I get up here for your credit, okay? Okay, let's go to right here. So we're talking about small employer related credits. So in the Section O of the Secure Act, we talk about the increase in credit limitation for small employer pension plan startup costs. And Let me go. So the new law for tax years beginning after December 31, the Act creates a new tax credit of up to $500 per year to employers for new 401k plans and simple IRA plans that include automatic enrollment. Just remember that word, automatic enrollment. So this credit's available to employers that convert an existing plan to automatic enrollment. I won't get in what automatic enrollment is, but it is a provision. So if you have a plan and you're an SMB, just make sure you find out, did I switch and can I switch? And up to a $500 per year to employees. And especially if you started in your plan in after December 31, 2019, or right here to employers that convert to automatic enrollment. Obviously now it's to encourage more participation in the plans. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is, let's see. Oh, let me go right before that. And it is right here. For tax year beginning December 31, it increases the small employer pension plan startup costs. And the startup costs are the fees and getting started at this, opening up a plan. And they can be expensive. Credit by changing the calculation of flat dollar amount. So it's just a dollar amount. So if you spent, and let me take one here, it's the greater of $500 or the lesser of $250 multiply the number of non-highly compensated employees, okay, and which will be designated in the plan of the eligible who are eligible to participate in the plan, or $5,000. So if you incurred, if there were $250 times 20 participants in the plan, no, and that excludes the non-highly compensated, that comes up to $5,000. You would get a $5,000 credit on your entity tax return that could flow through if you're a pass-through entity, impact you personally. Did you get all that? Okay. So it's $500 or the lesser of $250 multiplied by the number of non-highly compensated employees, but that's limited to $5,000. So it's either $500 or no more than $5,000. That's in addition to the $500 credit that we talked about, okay, which was right here for establishing a new for automatic enrollment. So there's two credits. One is the small employer pension plan startup costs for years after December 31, 2019, and there's the automatic enrollment, of which you can convert an existing plan to an automatic enrollment design. Okay. For this talk, I'm not going to get into what automatic enrollment is. That's Mike at HiTechCPA.com. Okay. One final that I want to bring to your attention is the repeal of maximum age for traditional IRA contributions. Okay. So we were limited when we reached age 70 and a half. Now there's repeal of maximum age for traditional IRA contributions. Now is because of the Secure Act. What we're working on is expanding and preserving retirement savings. I keep looking at the screen that talks about, I'm reading the Secure Act and the short title, and the whole Title 1 right after for the Secure Act is defined as expanding and preserving retirement savings. So along that same theme, what we have is an act from 12/20 of 19, and no one anticipated, even when this was put in place, the pandemic that was about to transpire. So here's a law that was placed in at the end of 19 to start forward thinking about how taxpayers that continue to work after age 70 and a half, so life expectancy past 70 and a half, is getting longer, and then people are still working past 70 and a half. So these provisions is to maintain and allow taxpayers who are still working and working longer, and for employers to adopt new employee retirement plans and vehicles so employees can participate. In being so, when you reach age 70 and a half, that's obviously the required minimum distributions has extended to 72 because of life expectancy. It's allowed SMB employers, the Secure Act, employers to adopt new plans, and there's incentives and credits, new credits to adopt new plans. And then it's also it increases the repeal of the maximum age for traditional IRA contributions. So all in all, if you continue working, you can continue to contribute to traditional IRA if your employer does not have a plan, and you don't have to start taking required minimum distributions at 70 and a half, and now it's moved to 72. And hopefully the Secure Act stays intact with as new laws are considered out there with a change in our government. So we will watch this. This is something that I'm going to watch. Hope that explains a little bit about the Secure Act, and we'll see you next time.